Hey everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are reviewing a gold Zarya. If you guys are enjoying, at least I think it's going to be Zarya. I could be mistaken here. That's what I get for not checking. We are going to call it Zarya. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate it. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all that good stuff.
Goodbye.
Okay. So we've got Zarya here. I see that we are also set up with Reinhardt. That's going to make this a bit easier, as well as Anna. Okay. And we're playing into a Rein Zarya mirror. Sounds good. So you go here.
Ready for battle.
You don't actually see incoming damage here. Incoming damage is pretty predictable, but you don't actually see it. Hey, Semitic, how you doing? And we sure enough do get the Junkrat nades and the Fire Strike to make this worthwhile.
Go.
But again, I don't really want this Reinhardt bubble. Like, this one I'm going to live with even though it was early. This one I don't really like. And the reason I don't like this is I don't expect your Reinhardt to give you a poke phase here. I expect your Reinhardt to walk up to the enemy and swing. If your Reinhardt was further away from their team, but their team had a sightline on him, it might make sense to bubble him here, going, hey, he's going to take some poke damage. But I would much prefer that my bubble, rather than just get value in the form of protecting him, also get value in the form of allowing him to swing. Reinhardt has his own tool to protect himself. It's called his shield. But he has this trade-off where he can't put his shield up while he's swinging. So the times that your bubbles are most valuable to him are when he can't take care of his own defense because he's swinging, or in some cases fire striking. Has Temporal been offered a sponsored video yet by Raid Shadow Legends or Surfshark? Ah, there we go. There we go. I actually haven't put out my stuff. I haven't put my information out there for sponsors to reach out to me yet, because I know that the current subscriber base wouldn't make most of those deals worth accepting. At a larger sponsor size, those deals become worth accepting. And the reality is I'm set up more as a streamer, and my streaming size is actually okay for those deals, but they won't really mostly know how to process that. They're thinking about it from a subscriber size because that's how it sort of works for most things. So no, but I actually haven't given them the option to offer that to me yet.
Go.
You doing well, Semitic? Just enjoy limbo of good enough to get masters consistently, but not good enough to hold it. That's okay. That's the step, being first step, able to get it once. Second step, able to consistently bounce back and forth between. Third step, hold it. Like, you're getting there. You're getting there. Okay, so Ben, as we're looking here, I don't like this bubble because I think in the next 4 to 6 seconds, before another bubble would be available, your Reinhardt is going to want to be in their face swinging, and you're not going to be able to bubble him during it. Now, he might not go up to them and swing, but the reason he's not going to go up to them and swing now is because he sees that he just got the bubble, and he's not going to get protected by you during it, which is a bad combination. So we all need to subscribe to Temporal, so Temporal can shill a wide variety of products he never uses. There you go. There you go. Okay. Probably a right click on the Anna instead of a reload here. Perfectly fine. And you want to walk in during this, exactly.
I claim this objective.
You have bubbles, so you can stand in the open like this a little. It's not great, but we can afford to do it. And the reason we're doing it is because we want these eliminations, even though there's a scary, scary soldier up there. Right clicks? Yep.
Damn it.
You're trying. You're trying. Audio just exploded there for a second? It might have. It might have. Something was a little weird on my end for a moment, too. I hope it's better now, Semitic.
Get in there.
Objective is mine. Join me if you will.
Objective A captured.
Keep out of my way.
New defense point.
Okay, here we go.
Cheers.
Enemy is
Them overshot.
Sure. Go take your high ground. Go take your high ground. High ground, high ground, high ground. Even if Ryan pushes main, I was good with you going high ground. You can bubble your Ryan from here, and you have a much better arc for throwing your right clicks. Much better arc. You can, for example, arc your right click over a Ryan shield from up here.
You're covered.
That doesn't mean you're not going to drop and fight as your Ryan actually pushes in, but for your poke phase, the off-angle high ground is just better. Oh boy. So you've got to walk. It sucks, but you've got to walk. Didn't really need to reload. Could have thrown the right click as walking. You're going to do-si-do with him. Literally walk into your Reinhardt. Too late, yeah. Okay. You heard the hook. Ideally, you'd have reacted to that hook with a bubble. Obviously, that's a little tough at this level of play. The pace of play is such that most people aren't playing at a pace where they can reflex, block hooks and things like that. But that's fine. You wanted to be at this moment backing yourself out to here where you had a corner to play with, then backing yourself out to here probably because you were going to decide that this fight is actually over with your Reinhardt gone, but that's life. Wow, are we gonna get out? No. I don't know that I'd never use any of the products though. I mean, I could be talked into using Surfshark. I use a different VPN right now that, well, I've done my VPN research, but hey. But I could be talked into it, or if offered a good enough deal. I'm not strictly opposed to using them. Okay, so this time we did go in through the high ground, and I appreciate that. We went in through the high ground. What did we use our personal for? You're here.
Give me your best shot.
No one was shooting at you. You were still at full health. Was it because you thought a hog hook was coming? Like, what was the bubble for? Did you see a projectile in the air? Now, if you did, you might have gotten robbed by Reinhardt's shield then popping up in front of you. But, like, I just don't see a good enough reason to have used this personal bubble yet. Maybe we could see some Raid Shadow Legend font reviews. Okay. So I want pressure on the Rhine shield less than I want it on actual targets. Here you are, and you're like, ah, yes, the Reinhardt shield is easy to hit, so let me put pressure on it. I'm much more interested in trying to put pressure on the Ana, because if you do even a single right click or 2 right clicks of damage to Ana, because you're 0 energy, she's going to leave, she's going to self-nade, she's going to play more defensive. If you throw right clicks at the BAP over here, who you can hit, again, he's going to play more defensive. He's potentially going to waste his shift. Maybe you can even get him to waste his lamp. And those create actual real openings, and you have to use a lot less right clicks to get a meaningful advantage. A couple right clicks to get a nade out of Ana, a couple right clicks to get shift out of BAP, and then the BAP is vulnerable to maybe someone else on your team hitting or doesn't want to peek as aggressively because your Hanzo will eliminate him if he does, that sort of thing. So you get more out of 1 or 2 right clicks into these guys than you do out of the Rhine shield. The Rhine shield you haven't really created an advantage on until you've gotten it near broken, which is like, that's just not very high priority for us. I totally get that it's easier to hit, but I'd rather you miss 2 out of 3 shots on the Ana or the BAP than hit 3 out of 3 shots on the Rhine shield. The Rhine charges. Yeah, I know. Charges with the shield that's about to break. Of course. He's already been charge happy. And now you just need to walk in. You can obviously rocket jump yourself across if you want. I hate this reload. And I want to walk. I still want to walk. Our Rhine went in hard, our Zen is transcendencing, I want to walk. I do not want to be playing Zarya Sniper anymore. Okay. Cool. I hear the Anna. Bap's a fine target. Anna's great. Anna's great. You need to bubble while standing on top of your Zen right now. You cannot lose your Zen. This fight is over if you lose your Zen. You need to occupy his hitbox. That's unfortunate. Good.
Overwatch is not what it is. Get in there. That's how we do it.
Ladies and gentlemen.
The big brain play right now would be use alt fire to hop to that right high ground. Their charge is a bit sad right now. Right. That would have been sort of the standard play. If we're comfortable with our right click jumps to get there, that's what we would have done. If we're not, we'd have just literally walked when our Reinhardt charged. It is a pretty easy right click jump.
Огонь по готовности.
No.
This will be.
Yeah, that was always the concern. I don't really want to grab here because I haven't seen her use Fade. It's likely she used Fade and is trying to get back as possible, but I haven't seen her use Fade. I'm concerned about it. I don't really want this situation where I grab
This will be.
and don't eliminate her. That doesn't really work for me. Okay. You know Moira's your target because she's low, but you don't have the resources. Unfortunate. When shield is broken, he fire strikes. When that's cooldown, he charges. Ah, it's not how you play Rhine.
Just like in training.
Assistance would be appreciated.
Okay,
Fire's on you.
that's fine.
My ultimate is charging.
Okay,
Is that all we've got?
Rhine is not going to be my preferred target, but I'll deal with him if he's the only one I can right click out. Good. You hear the Tracer? Okay, Junkrat took care of it.
Get
Okay,
in there.
we're going to walk on this. Where'd it go?
Get in there.
You did bubble him there. Okay,
Get
that's
in
fine.
there.
Okay, so damage on Junkrat or Moira? Nope, not Reinhardt. Not Reinhardt. Reinhardt takes forever to take down. And you might be thinking, no, he's already being attacked by Reinhardt. He's definitely who I should shoot at. If this Reinhardt was already 200 health or something, maybe. But, like, no. You making the Moira leave, you making the Junkrat leave or eliminating the Junkrat, very possible, is worth more and is actually going to allow you to eliminate the Reinhardt faster than shooting at the Reinhardt is right now. It really is. You generally want to shoot at the off-angled targets, the targets that you can more quickly force cooldowns out of, force to leave, threaten an elimination on, because Reinhardt, how he's playing isn't really going to change for another second or two. Whereas you can pretty much instantly change how these other two play to make them play more passively or to force out cooldowns or to eliminate them by putting any damage on them right now. So I would much prefer that. Like, it's going to take you like 2,000 plus points of damage between you and the rest of your team to take out their Reinhardt, between his full health right now, his shield, him having a Moira that's paying attention to him. It's going to take you like 2,000 points of damage to take him down. It's going to take you 200 points of damage to take the Junkrat down. It's going to take you 140 points of damage to take the Moira down. Or 60 points of damage to force her Fade. Like, you see how much cheaper that is? And then that's something I'd much prefer to do. No, better.
Bring it.
Okay. Oh, we have a super chat coming in from Adam in Charge for $2 saying you are poor and need a new headset, so here you go. Thank you, Adam in Charge. Thank you, Adam in Charge. I think that's a comment on the sound spike that we got for a moment there. Apologies for that, guys. I wonder why the tank designed to attract DPS look like they are going to struggle the most as a solo tank. I've seen Zarya players jump into the right side. Yeah, we talked about that on the last push. It's pretty common to jump yourself up over to here and apply your pressure from here, and that would be a good thing to do. We would like to do that. We didn't. If we don't feel comfortable with that jump, our next best thing is walking in, and walking in was fine. We had bubble for Ryan. We just don't like Ryan. Unfortunate.
Wiek żywi.
Okay. Good. You done? You're done? Why are you still walking forward?
Ready for battle.
You bubble for this? You can't really afford to go here right now because you know your bubble is going to end with you sort of in no man's land. I kind of wasn't really willing to go much further forward than here after I bubbled because I knew my retreat was back to here. Or go up to here and then my retreat is back to here. Like, I don't want to be totally in the open when my bubble ends, especially as the most far forward person. Okay, this Reinhardt. Go left, go left. He's got that covered. We can apply damage pressure over here. I believe. We could also apply it over there.
You're covered.
Not the Rhine shield. Okay, good.
Not wanted.
You found a better target. Good.
Stand
I could have bubbled that immediately. Like, I look at this. Boom. And just bubble and keep fighting.
Give me your best
You're
shot.
kind of late, and you've kind of backed out a little by the time you bubble here. Good. Going for the health pack? No? Okay. Leaving.
Barriers on you. Go.
Nobody in this game is playing the new hero Cole Cassidy. It's true. It's true. Not particularly Val, no.
Get in there.
Just walk. Just walk. Hold your bubbles. You did not need to bubble there. Or, excuse me, reload there. Yeah, I don't want to reload here. I don't want to be out of this fight while my team is pushing with Transcendence. I want to be running at the opponent stupid hard right now, charging up my Grav. Like, stupid hard right now. You let yourself fall behind. You're now going to... Oh, you can't bubble him quite yet. Okay. Okay. Find someone to bubble. Find someone to bubble. Hint they need it.
Ready for battle.
Okay, fine.
Огонь по готовности. 60 seconds. I will fire. I will.
Still should be okay and get the cap here. Oh no.
Wiek żywi.
Probably don't stay Zarya. Go Diva, 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 Hammond. Fine.
The essence of discovery.
Unfortunate. It's just gold mechanics here where the team can't finish off a ball, so you guys don't cap.
My ultimate is ready.
Okay, it's sneaky. Is your team ready? Is your... Okay. So, there's a couple things we can talk about here.
My ultimate is ready.
Hold forward, aim higher, but really, both of those are irrelevant if you just jump before you jump pack. You jump before you jump pack, you make this one easy. Tactical throw. Ouch, ouch. It's a gold game and enemy team is ball swinging on point. That's a GG. Just a mistake in this micro there. Exactly. Not a big deal.
The pins.
Overtime.
They have returned.
Okay. You go here. you decide that you need to touch so you can't take high ground, I can live with that decision. So this is unfortunate because I don't think you got credit for this melee. And if we're not going to hit with our melee, we can't afford to melee. We need to hit with our melee, but if we're not going to hit with our melee, we can't afford to melee. Because that gives her, that's time that we're not shooting, and we really need every moment we can get on Mercy because her cooldown is so short on Guardian Angel. Okay. You just go high ground. Like oh boy. Oh boy. Your Hanzo will stall for a second. You're back on Mercy. It's not going to matter. Yeah, you're just done.
My power.
Temporal, I very quickly ask if Ana Ryan is really a throw pick and organized play. That's what I was told. Unfortunately, yes. You're just going to get outvalued by BAP. BAP is going to heal for basically as much as your Ana does, but your BAP is going to put significantly more pressure on the opposing Reinhardt in the mirror. Significantly more pressure on the opposing Reinhardt, or the opposing Brawl team, rather, in the mirror than your Ana does, because the Ana is in a situation where they, how do I want to put this? Where they, words are hard. So, where they are only threatening on their cycles where they have cooldowns available. So like Ana's only really threatening during her cooldown cycles, her spikes of threatening. BAP is threatening all the time. And unfortunately, that difference is too much and too easy to play around. The reality is also that BAP is more durable against divers when you're playing into other comps than Ana is. Yes, Ana has Sleep Dart. Yes, Ana has Nade. But again, she can't really afford to save those things for protecting herself if she's trying to keep up with BAP's value, whereas BAP has Biotic Shift, which is 150 points of healing. He has Boots to change to high ground, and he has a Lamp. Like, he's too durable compared to Ana, and Ana, the durability that she does have, she has to spend to try to keep up with BAP's neutral value, and their healing values really are pretty similar when you actually get into it. So, yeah, kind of a throw, unfortunately. Winston is definitely top tier with melee eliminations. Animations, rather. So to Ana casuals, it's better to just give up and learn BAP. I mean, Ana's more fun. Just saying. And no, that's not strictly true, because what he's saying is Ana with Reinhardt. And you sometimes run Ana with Winston. That's a legit thing. Ana Winston is legit.
Initiating.
And the reason for that obviously has to do with ult synergy, has to do with BAP doesn't support dives that are super far away from him quite as precisely as Ana does. Because, you know, his heals angle, have a little bit of a range limit on them, all that.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Okay, so we saw Zarya here. I thought we might get a little more than that. We've moved through this one a little bit faster. I might slow it down for the second half here because the tape's a little less than I thought here. But what I look at with your Zarya is there's definitely still room, yes, to get your self-bubbles better. There is. With your self-bubbles, I know we've covered self-bubbles before, but you really want to see that damage coming at you. And it's improved, but it's still gotta get better. Like, it's still gonna have to get better. You don't want these self-bubbles that you don't get value out of. That's something that you're doing much better, but they're still there. For example, we saw this one right here, and it really is important to get your self-bubbles right. The other thing that we run into is you need to understand when your self-bubble ends, you now can't play as aggressively. You can play aggressively when you have self-bubble available. You have to play more passive when it's not available. So, like, your self-bubble can't end with you right here and your Reinhardt behind you, or your Reinhardt just now passing in front of you. Like, that's not really good. You'd like your self-bubble to end when you're, like, you go here, you push aggressively, and you as soon as you start taking damage, you self-bubble because you're 1v3ing, whatever. And then because you've now activated your self-bubble, you may stay for an instant, probably not even a second, maybe a second, not 2 seconds, and you're starting to back out. As soon as you've activated your bubble, you're thinking about, I'm going to need to be backing out to hear this sort of thing. But again, get aggressive while you have the bubble available. Use the bubble when it's called for, when you start taking the damage, when you see the projectiles coming at you, and then transition into a more passive playstyle so that you can maintain your energy. You don't get aggressive with your bubble, you get aggressive when you have your bubble. But you wanted to hit this bubble here, you didn't want to hit this bubble here, you didn't want to hit this bubble here, excuse me. The bubble that you hit here, you just needed to then take a more passive spot after it was over. You pushed forward, like you used your bubble here, and then you kept walking forward. And that doesn't really work because then it's too easy to get caught. Fortunately, this is gold. Their aim isn't very good. They don't punish you for that bad bubble. But that's one thing that we're looking at. The bigger thing that we're looking at here, the biggest thing that we're looking at with your Zarya, is even if you're missing with these right clicks, even if it's harder to track these targets with your left clicks, I want your damage pressure on non-Reinhardt targets when non-Reinhardt targets are accessible to you. If there's a Reinhardt with his full shield there and there's nothing better to shoot at, absolutely put pressure on his shield. But a big thing about Zarya, and the most important thing that we're going to take away for your Zarya for this review, is we want to shoot at the targets not bind Rein's shield. We want to put pressure on them to eliminate them, to force out their cooldowns, or to make them run back behind their Reinhardt shield. At which point, yeah, we'll go back to doing damage to the Reinhardt shield. That actually creates a big difference. It creates a snowballing difference in terms of you get out a cooldown, which then causes them to play more passive. You get them to go behind cover, which causes them to do less damage to you. You get them to go behind their Reinhardt shield, which means they don't have angles to shoot behind your Reinhardt shield. They don't have angles to threaten you in ways where, hey, you evasively dodge the opponents, but your evasive dodge against the opponents does nothing against this guy. Like, you generally want to shoot at the people on the angles, not at the Reinhardt shield if you have a better choice. So, like, that's what you do, and it's actually the same principle you follow. You off-angle as Zarya until people put enough pressure on you to make you go back behind your Reinhardt shield. So that same principle that you should be following should be really easy for you to understand. I need to do this to the enemies. I need to do damage to them to make them go back behind the Reinhardt shield or use their personal bubble, or use their fade, or use their mine to run away, or use, you see, their adaptive shield if they're ball, that sort of thing. Like, you want to do that because that'll actually cause you to, even if you think like, okay, but if they run by the Rein shield, we'll be so far behind on the Rein shield, you'll actually be ahead because they'll take worse angles and they'll then do less damage. Like, it's really important to shoot at these off-angled targets as Zarya. And even with your right clicks, the right click is going to force the BAP shift. It's going to force the NNA, that sort of thing. And that's a pretty big advantage going into the fight. So do that. And then the third thing that I would say for your Zarya is you've got some reload right-click shenanigans to work on. You see that. I pointed a few of those out. That's something that you just have to actively think about for a while. It's a hard thing to fix. It's still probably the least important of the three things we covered here so far, the most important being your shoot at the off-angled target. Seriously, do it. It's big. It actually adds up a lot. Organized play, like higher SR ranks, even if it's gold team versus gold team, silver versus silver, etc. I don't understand the question. What do I find about more fun about Ana? I enjoy the hero. I enjoy being able to swap between scope and hip fire. I enjoy having the sleep type dart. I enjoy her kit more. I think it's more fun. Now, that's, that's not to say, hey, BAP's kit is terrible or anything, but I just find Ana's kit to be more engaging and more fun, probably because it's power spikes, because you get to, in some ways, go, hey, I'm going to go find a way to use my nade, I'm going to go find a way to use my sleep dart, I'm going to go find a way to use my nade, I'm going to go find a way to use my sleep dart, oh, here's my nano, that sort of thing. Like, probably because it's a little more varied like that. BAP, you're playing with your distance, you're sometimes hopping up onto high ground, and you're looking for opportunities to weave, and if you find the weave gameplay very engaging, that's great. I find finding Ana's power spike ability uses for them more engaging, as well as I like her scope. I like scope shotting with her. I probably lean a little too much on her scope shots and not on hip fire.
Order will be restored.
I've still got
Temporal's literally streaming from a cardboard box. Wow, that's an upgrade. Okay.
5, 4,
Temporal, since BAP existed during GOATS, do you think he could have been a substitute for Zen in the Zen GOATS mirror? Obviously, people would have needed to... Yeah, absolutely. He absolutely could have been a substitute for Zen in that mirror. He doesn't increase everyone's damage the same way that Zen does, but he does a lot of damage himself, and Lamp is useful enough. I expect that he probably would have been the substitute for Zen. If you were to play it now, he'd probably do a better job of substituting for Brig, and you'd probably run BAP plus Zen because Brig doesn't do enough to help your doesn't do enough in the Brawl v Brawl anymore, which is unfortunate for a Brawl hero, and BAP still does a good enough job of being dive resistant that you can get away with not having Brig.
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Combat protocols initiated. Primary objectives confirmed. Beginning mission. Not so fast.
So we're playing the Orisa. You play it back here. We're gonna have to lead this better. Hook is on cooldown. That's a little annoying. You're going for that. He moves right, so you instantly need to flick. Flick. You flick to him. I need you to flick past him. Because you're shooting projectiles. He's moving back. You need to flick past him to the left. You flicked to him. You're trying to track him. You're trying to follow him with your aim, and that's not working. I need you to flick past him, even more so than normal for tracking, because you're using projectiles with your tracking weapon.
Not so fast.
Okay, stop shooting. Just stop shooting. Just stop shooting. You have plenty of shots. Good job not reloading. Okay. Okay, you need to have a place to go for cover. I'm not willing to spend Fortify yet. Now I'm going to have to spend Fortify because this rock is coming, and I don't really want Hog to get hit by it. But really what you wanted to do is you wanted to already be tucked over here where like your shield extended cover. You wanted to think of, hey, you had your shield down. It was like this. It was extending cover. But you were somewhere like here where you're shooting. You have this clean sight line on them, whatever. But if your shield breaks, you can hotbind cover rather than if your shield breaks, you have to fortify if they start applying a bunch of damage and your shield isn't ready, which is what you currently are in. Now, they might not apply a bunch of damage. You might not need to fortify. Okay. You're going to use this time to reload. You see them through the window. Don't shield yet. Just shoot. Just shoot. Just shoot. No one's looking at you. You could have afforded, I don't mind you shielding here a ton, but you could have afforded to shoot at their Ana without shielding. Because if they hard rotate left, you're going to feel silly. They, of course, can't hard rotate left.
Stop.
I'm going to be honest. Pre-fire your halt here at the Ana's feet. Shoot at the Ana, drag your crosshair right, pop your halt to bring her back, finish her off. This was a group that wasn't paying attention to you. That is what you do right here. And if BAP gets in your way or someone gets in your way and takes a bunch of damage, so be it. That's fine. You wasted a 6-second cooldown and halt, not a big deal. Like, that was what we wanted to look for here. No, excuse me, it wasn't BAP, it was Junkrat there.
Stop.
This halt is sort of like late. I don't know what this halt is doing. This is very similar to your previous halt where you're just like, I think it's time to throw a halt. Like, for what? Who is your halt setting you up to eliminate? Are you throwing your halt preemptively knowing that you're going to hit someone like I was talking about with Deanna? Are you throwing your halt because you know someone's about to run and you're going to then start shooting at them and then pull them back? Like, what's going on here with this halt? Okay, this is just a group hug halt. This group hug type halt doesn't really do anything, and you don't need to halt people up. You can halt them down. Halting people up, see, people used to do that thinking like, yeah, this is good because their fall arc is very predictable and they can't really move while they're in the air. Yeah, sure, but if you actually understand how halt works, if you halt people, they actually get pulled, their momentum gets stopped, and then they get like a 70% or something slow applied to them for a little less than a second. I forget exactly how long. So like, you don't actually need this because they move at like almost 0% speed for a good moment. a good moment when you halt them in. So like they get stopped, they effectively get like pulled, and then they basically get rooted. They're not actually rooted, they can move a tiny bit, but they're basically rooted. So like you could have done that rather than have this fall thing. You also threw this halt just because, ooh, lots of people. That's only really good if you're going to send like a dragon strike through them, throw a TNT at them, mine them, something like this. Was this coordinated? Did you call this halt out? And who can do anything with this halt? There's no AoE on your team to take advantage of a group hug type halt like this. So I don't see a need to put this halt in the air. I actually find they're worse than putting them on the ground mostly. Group hugs don't make sense for you. It actually makes it harder for you to pick your target that you're shooting at trying to eliminate unless you have AoE on your team to take advantage of it. If you waste a halt, you will lose the game. That's not true. Basically grab on cooldown. It's not quite that anymore. It's smaller. It used to be that. Okay. I probably don't reload there. You see that reload? You had 80 ammo left, and that reload actively delayed you putting a new barrier down and fighting again. Good, good! That was your best halt yet. That was your best halt yet. If you're going to force this, you force this fight with Fortify right now. It's a little scary to force this fight with Fortify right now, but it's doable because you're going to be in a situation where you can maintain this aggressive off angle with Fortify. Your hog is threatening from here. You don't have another barrier available, and you're not going to by the time your Fortify ends. But if you need to retreat because you're getting pushed, you'd be fortifying while you still have armor. And by the time your Fortify ends, you will have halt back, which you can use if you're having to retreat to keep this McCree that might be pushing you on the other side of this. So if you want to use Fortify to get aggressive here, I'm good with that. No, I'm not good really with fortifying on this side of the barrier.
For your own safety, get behind the barrier.
Okay, you have Fort. You're going to have to pop it immediately. Your health's too low not to. Fort, you're going to get shot. Okay, you get to shield instead now, which is preferable. Okay.
Stop right there.
Okay. And now drag right, drag right, drag right, drag right, drag right, drag right! Ugh. I don't mind if you miss shots, but I want you, like, fundamentally trying to execute this correctly. Because that's the only way you're going to build the habit right, and that's the only way you're going to improve it. If you're not trying for the appropriate leading, you're not going to get better at it, and you could play for 1,000 hours, you're still not really going to get better at it. If you're trying to do it right, even if you're doing it poorly, you're going to get better as you pour hours into it. Stop shooting. He's bubbled. Okay. Beautiful. He's in the open. We shoot at him. We shoot at him. We halt immediately. Halt immediately. Halt immediately. Now you're going to have to fortify because you didn't halt in time. Yeah. So you see how that works? It was very obvious what he was doing. We were in a situation of, okay, he's walking at us. We halt immediately to keep him outside of the barrier. If we get it right, we'll mess up his timing and he'll flash the barrier. If we get it wrong, we still pull him back and give ourselves more time to eliminate him and very easy headshots. And now you have to fortify. You have to fortify right now because he's through your barrier. And 420 health might seem like a lot, but you cannot afford to get flashed here. If you survive this, well, your team probably still loses, but still. Temporal is talking. This is making me so upset. Happy to upset you, Adam. Happy to upset you. McCree. Ah, Cassidy. Excuse me.
Objective lost. New defense point. Objective
Ben probably didn't know Cole Cassidy's abilities because he is such a new hero. Okay, okay. So we've got this supercharger. This push should just fail on them for their part. As long as you get this off before your team just loses. Halt, halt, halt. You wanted to halt basically immediately here. I'll show you. Hog does his hook. Hog decides to whole hog. and I immediately know, I know that there's people behind here. I want to throw a halt here or throw a halt here just because I expect by the time my halt gets there, Hog will be done shooting in this direction and will probably shoot in this direction. And I want to trap these guys here so that my Hog can keep them pushed up against the wall. Like, I'm predicting what's going to happen here, and you kind of have to with Orisa because halt's a projectile. Sure enough, would have been nice to have an extra person in Hog's whole Hog there.
I cast this forth.
Okay. We should push more forward. We shouldn't still be here. We don't need to help our team with this anymore. We already have our ult. We should push more forward. We can do it on high ground, but we should push more forward. Oh no. No, I don't want to be here. Ew. Ew. I want to be here. I want to be here. Like, just play from here. You don't need to play, like, rear guard Orisa here. Like, play from here. If I'm playing from here, I have the ability, if we start winning a fight hard, like we won the last fight hard, to drop and actually go in myself and brawl, which is good because I can take the 5v2, use my halts more precisely to stop them from escaping, fortify for the actual brawl, and then once we clean up those two, I'm able to take this, and now I'm able to punish their respawns on the way in, that sort of thing, which I'd also like to do. If I'm playing back here, I can't really do anything. If we start winning the fight, I stop contributing. High ground off-tank artillery. Yeah, that's a reference to your Overwatch guide, which we have reviewed, and I'm not a huge fan of classifying her as high ground off-tank artillery. Not that high ground is bad for her. Not that off-angling is bad for her, but she is a main tank. Okay. You're okay. You're the only one behind your barrier, so you can afford to shoot at Miss McCree, because you're the only one behind your barrier, so it'll never break. Or it'll break, but you won't go down to another bullet. Yeah, good. What?
Get behind the barrier.
Your poor team! Your poor team! Your team gets grabbed, and you bury yourself?
Get behind the barrier.
No, 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 no. This barrier goes right here. Right here. It's going to get blown up instantly, but you still gotta. You gotta. It's not an option to do otherwise.
You require medical attention.
No, she is that. You'll lose if you play any other way. No, this is good. Protect yourself. It's all going to fall on you in a moment. Also, we're looking at this and like, hey, we survived. As soon as we survived this, I was real tempted to drop my supercharger right now anyways. We've been holding this supercharger for quite a while. We won the first fight too quickly with whole Hog. They never really got in. We probably didn't want to do it. We could have done it during the high noon. We could also do it now, especially because they're windowing. Yeah, I'm really good with the supercharger. Especially since we barriered ourselves. Supercharger? Supercharger?
Cease your resistance.
Okay, a little late. I would have liked to do that when we had more people alive, even if they were in the grab. Okay. Halt reload is unfortunately a bad habit. Oh, is Frito getting secret coaching? Is that what we think's going on? Could be. Could be. If so, I commend it. Okay.
Defense mode active.
I'm actually not willing to reload here. You just reloaded, or you just barriered at 8 ammo, and I'm not willing to do that. Because if you look at Orisa's reload, I'm going to slow this down to make it real obvious. You see how Orisa's got this super long reload? Right here, you hit the reload. Boom, boom, boom. Super long reload. And your ammo is now, well, your ammo should now be back. Did they change that? Your ammo's now back. And look at how long was left in the reload after your ammo is back before you could fire, which is about now. That's a long time. It's a long reload either way, and you only get rid of like a third of it, but getting rid of that last third is still a long time because Orisa, I think, has the longest reload in the game. Yeah, she does have the longest reload in the game, and getting rid of the last third of that is pretty valuable, but also your barrier only has, as we can see here, just for illustrative purposes, your barrier only has 600 HP. 600 HP goes fast. I do not want to have to be reloading when I've put down a fresh barrier on a 10-second cooldown. I want to instead, if I can line it up this way, go, hey, I have a barrier, my barrier goes down, and I have a full clip. Now, I'm not going to reload at 80 ammo or whatever, or 70 ammo or 100 ammo to cause those to line up. I'm just going to fire through using another barrier and accept it. But if I had to reload, if I was like 30 or less ammo, I'm just going to go ahead and start my reload and then use the barrier to cancel the last third of the animation of my reload after my ammo has returned. Because right now,
Defense mode activated.
you've lost a third of your barrier's value, a third of your barrier's health. And also, I don't know why you're fortifying. You do still have 2/3 of your barrier's health, which is more than you'd usually have after this maneuver, or more than you'd usually have having thrown down a barrier at 8 ammo like this. Yeah. So the fortify here doesn't make sense, but more important, I'd like you to start to get into that habit of when your ammo is already low, using the fresh shield to cancel your reload and noticing it and going for the reload and then using the fresh shield to cancel your reload rather than, reloading at 8 ammo, at 14 ammo, that sort of thing, right after you've put a shield down. The group hug. And did we even take advantage of the group hug?
Halt.
Okay. Are we going to track people on the way down? Not really. Our crosshair didn't really move down there. So again, people's vertical height also changes less if you halt them on the ground. So if you're not liking, or it's hard to go like, hey, let me track them and get the speed just right on their descent to be ahead of them to keep hitting headshots, well, that's a lot easier if you just pulled them vertically like this with a ground, or horizontally like this with a ground halt. Their head hitbox doesn't change height. It's really easier to hit them. Yeah, it is. It's pretty good. And now you don't have barrier or fortify because you misused fortify.
Please move
New
behind the
barrier. Finish BAP. Throw the halt. Okay, now you're just going to have to drop on point. You have to drop on point and fortify. I promise you dropping on point and fortifying was right. Like, let's look at this right now. No one's contesting point. Farah is contesting point. Farah's giving up and contesting point. I get it. You don't want to drop and fight on the point until you're ahead enough to win a poke battle. That's conceptually true with Orisa, but the reality is you're still better suited than anyone on your team that isn't named Roadhog or maybe Lucio for contesting the point. So if you guys need to stall before everyone commits, you're still going to be one of the earlier people to commit to this. You're definitely going to drop and contest the point long before Farah does. Farah has much more ability to get picks in a 2v4 from off point than you do. You have much better ability to survive on the point than she does.
Rocket barrage.
Victory.
Okay, so we talked about your Zarya. We're not going to talk about your monkey because it was very short, and, if we talked about your monkey, we would say, jump higher, jump and then jump pack, whatever. Okay, not a big deal. You could have gone over here for the high ground and then done some work, but I get it. You chose not to because of that. You missed your melee on the Mercy, a couple things like that. But as we get into your Orisa here, things that I would talk about is you've really got to lead. You have to lead your shots. You have to try to aim appropriately with her. You don't aim where people are if they're walking, especially if they're walking horizontally left or right. You aim where they're going to be. And if they change directions, you're going to have to flick ahead of them. You have to lead shots, and you have to lead shots more so than you would do on a soldier. Like with tracking, you sort of try to lead your crosshair and you end up not actually doing it, but you're constantly in a prediction game of where they're going to be. With tracking with a projectile, you have to lead even more because there's travel time there. So you actually do have to really be leading them. And then hit your flicks and adjust. Orisa has a tool to help her, sort of, with that, and that is Halt. Halt is great. Halt is amazing. There is a reason that they nerfed Halt. Halt is the most fun piece of Orisa's kit. When it comes to Halt, though, the group hug isn't necessarily worth anything unless you're setting something up. That TNT, that Dragon Strike, you're halting them to keep them to keep a group from getting away that's about to get shattered. Something like you've got to have something to make the halt make sense if you're just trying to group people with the halt. Grouping people isn't generally a valid use of halt. Instead, what I want your halts to be really at the ground or at standard level. I don't want your halts pulling people up. They have this slow. You don't need to halt people up. They have a near root effect to them, and it'll be easier for you to hit people with headshots, which is something you want to do if you're pulling them across the ground or just rooting them where they are, then it will be to pull them up like this, where you then have to be like, yes, I'm going to try to hit headshots as they're falling. That's hard. I don't really want to do that. So please use your halts to root people to the ground, to pull people across the ground, not to pull people up into the air. And also don't use your halts to just group people unless there's a point. Dragon Strike is the most obvious example there. So that would be big. I would say this is number 1. This is number 2. And then as I get into number 3 here, it is going to be the shield reload tech. So this actually matters on Orisa. This actually matters quite a bit. I'm calling it a tech, and it is a tech, but the reality is you're canceling the last third of your reload. But even just thinking about the tech is going to get you in general to be better about not hitting a reload when you have a fresh barrier out there, or not allowing yourself to create situations where you hit a reload right after you threw a fresh barrier out there, not getting into that. And not getting into that in the first place will cause your pressure to be significantly better. So we need you thinking about your reloads on Orisa. We need you thinking about your reloads on Zarya. Those are both going to be the thing, but those are not going to be the most important thing on either of them right now. The first 2 points for both of them are more important than the reload stuff that we're going to get into here. So that's what I'd give you to work on. Remember, this is a lot of stuff. I just gave you 3 things for 2 different heroes, and they're really all different things. We had targeting off-angled people, not shooting at the Rhine Shield, deprioritizing that as Zarya. We had our bubble usage as Zarya, personal bubble in terms of, how the aggression works around it. Like, we really want to be using our bubble. Once we've used our bubble, we really can't be staying aggressive. We need to be falling back to a more conservative spot. And then we had some reload stuff there. We similarly have some reload stuff for Orisa, but much more important is going to be really actively thinking about leading our shots and using our halts not to group hug people, not to pull people up into the air, but pulling them across the ground where we can, again, hit more shots. Because we do have to hit shots with Orisa. That's how she does damage. So yeah, work through these things one thing at a time, 5 to 15% of your brain power. Please do not try to do all 6 things at once. Please, because it's 2 different heroes, obviously. Please don't try to be like, yes, I'm working on my reloads and my halts at the same time, and I need to aim. But no. Please, actively focus on leading your shots more. And once you feel like you're actually starting to do it intentionally, even if it's not great, and you're consistently intentionally trying to do it, then you'd move on to working on your halts, that sort of thing. That's how it works. 5 to 15% of your brain power, one thing at a time. If you or anyone else has questions about any of this, something that didn't come up here, go ahead and throw them up in chat now. If people have more general life questions or whatever, Overwatch questions, but preferably we're looking for non-Overwatch questions tomorrow, I will be doing an Ask Temporal tomorrow. Maybe I'll post a time for that today. I think I have to head over to some Scrim stuff next though, but I will be doing an Ask Temporal tomorrow that'll be more focused on some non-Overwatch type questions. So that could be really anything. You can ask whatever you want, but we've covered things in the past: dating, finance, things like that, as well as yes, we will cover some Overwatch because we are primarily an Overwatch channel. Okay, if people have questions today though for this review, go ahead, throw them up there. If you're enjoying the content, please do drop a like, consider subscribing if you haven't, and I will take a look. Okay. Are you guys arguing over who's the most authoritative sources on things between Spilo, myself, and Major Midget? Interesting. Interesting. Is this coming in play because I see. Ash may give Arissa a run for her money on longest full Rio. That's true. That's true. Stalo says 678k subscribers, which is the best form of credentials available. He doesn't like the llama. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's going to do it. I'm not seeing anything there that I need to address, so we'll go ahead and call it there. If you guys are enjoying the comment, drop a like, subscribe. If you're looking for coaching, please join the Discord. If you want to catch more of this stuff live, also join the Discord. You can react to become a watcher, get all sort of notifications, all that stuff. We'll go ahead and call it there.